Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at a really fascinating topic today, maybe even a little too relatable for some of us. It comes from a pretty unconventional source. We've got excerpts from this book. It's called How to Be Productive Without Actually Producing Anything. Now, yeah, the title kind of gives it away. This isn't your typical productivity guide. Forget the hustle culture stuff. This source is all about, well, quietly surviving office life,
Right.
looking super busy even when you're inflicting. Maybe not. So our mission here for you is to pull out the core ideas, the strategies, the insights, maybe even the slightly cynical techniques from this thing. We're unpacking what it calls productivity theater.
Yeah, and that term productivity theater, it's really key to the whole source's philosophy, isn't it?
Sure.
It shifts the focus completely. It's not about what you actually do, but how you look. The source basically argues that in some workplaces, appearing busy is, well, it's the real job, especially for just sticking around. We'll dig into how it suggests mastering that performance.
Exactly. It's a deep dive into the art of illusion, really. So let's jump right into that core idea. The intro sets it up perfectly. It says it's not for the go-getters. It's for, quote, quietly surviving office life. How to look busy while doing absolutely nothing. The goal. Explicitly, maximize the illusion of productivity.
Right. And the thinking behind it is that, in a lot of corporate environments, just being seen to be working hard,
Yeah.
that perceived effort, it can count for more than actual results.
Yeah.
Appearing swamped makes you look valuable, indispensable even, whether you produced anything tangible or not. It's about playing the game, not just hitting targets.
Okay, so step one is create the illusion. The book gets very specific on the how. Some really tangible tricks for looking busy. First up, the dual screen illusion. The source says, serious people have two monitors. One screen is for the official stuff spreadsheets, maybe an email draft open. But screen number two, that's your cover, for true intentions like Netflix, maybe paused on a documentary title, or endless scrolling. And it adds that a messy desk is a bonus scream as I've been grinding for hours.
Yeah, the logic is pretty simple, but I guess effective.
Yeah.
It's all about managing how things look. That setup, two screens, messy desk, it just signals intense activity to anyone walking past. Creates a kind of barrier.
Right. Projects that don't bother me vibe. Then there's the ever open document. Just keep a document open with a vague title. Something like Q3 planning or strategy notes. Every now and then type a random bullet point. Doesn't matter what it says. The key is just that anyone walking by sees something happening. Oh, and the book makes a great point. Even better if the document has a table. Tables look like work.
Huh. Yeah, tables do look serious.
I also like the calendar jam. This is basically filling your calendar with vague stuff. Sync, focus block, research time. The sources, they mean nothing really, but they make you look totally booked. The idea. No one schedules meetings with someone already in 5 back-to-back focus blocks.
And that really shows how the source views the calendar, not just for planning, but as a shield. It's framed as, like, an elegant form of self-defense. Using the tool to protect your time, avoid actual demands, turning it into defense.
It's clever repurposing those tools. Another simple one, headphones barrier. Wearing headphones, the book says, is the universal do not disturb. Doesn't matter if you're listening to anything, it just projects intensity. Makes people think you're deep in thought, maybe coding the next big thing.
Or just enjoying the silence.
Exactly, and this one made me chuckle. The slow walk. Ooh.
Okay.
If you need to kill time but look busy, the advice is walk briskly, look purposeful, maybe carry a notebook, add a cipher effect. The goal is for people to think you're off solving something big, when really you're just making sure no one notices you've done nothing all morning.
Quite the performance.
Yeah, the source sums it up perfectly. It's a performance, an art form, requires subtlety, commitment, and just enough plausible deniability. It stresses you're not lazy, you're strategic, not avoiding work, just creating space for deep, undefined thought.
It's a pretty cynical perspective, isn't it?
Fishy.
Suggesting appearance is more valuable than actual work sometimes.
Which leads nicely into the next bit of advice, which feels counterintuitive. Go to those pointless meetings.
Right. And the reasoning is blunt. Visibility often matters more than value. Just being there, the source argues, is like workplace camouflage. People just assume you were, absorbing strategy or processing complex input. The less you say, maybe the more they think you're thinking deep thoughts.
It's about being seen in the right rooms. And the book gives you a survival kit for these things. Strategic participation, the bare minimum. You apparently only need 3 lines. 1, that's a great point, just drop it in randomly. 2, just to build on what was said.
Yeah.
Then you basically repeat what someone else just said, but maybe slightly differently. Instant credibility, 0 effort.
Zero original thought needed.
Exactly. And 3, let's take that offline. You save this for anything that sounds like it might actually involve work for you. The book calls it the professional equivalent of saying, not my problem.
And the source claims these work because they sound engaged, they sound professional, but they don't actually commit you to anything. They give you that instant credibility while dodging any real contribution.
And what should you do during the meeting itself? The source suggests time well wasted. Treat it like paid rest. Make your grocery list, doodle, practice your engaged nod. Silently judge your colleagues' shoes. If you're there in person, doodle complex-looking flowcharts with arrows that go nowhere, looks like deep process mapping.
Very strategic doodling.
You can also try being curious, not committed. Ask those big, vague questions. How does this align with our broader goals? Or the classic, what's the synergy here?
Yeah.
The source calls it pure fluff, but says it makes you look like a future team lead. Plus, no one can actually answer them concisely.
That's probably true.
So the meeting summary from the book. Talk less, look more, get the visibility points with zero actual effort. The punchline. In most meetings, the louder you are, the less you're actually doing.
Which is quite a commentary on meeting culture itself, really. Prioritizing airtime over outcome.
Okay, moving on. Copy-paste culture. How to repeat without effort. The book basically says recycling is your friend in the office.
Yeah, the core argument is pretty stark. Originality is overrated. The real MVPs are those who know how to repurpose, recycle, and repackage. It suggests most tasks are just, slight variations of stuff you've already done or seen.
And it gives you the playbook for making old stuff look new. Change the font, reword the title, swap words, use enhance instead of optimize. Add a generic stock photo. Bam! New project proposal.
Yeah.
The book calls this building your lazy library.
Your personal archive of reusable content.
Exactly. It even says create a folder. Work I can reuse. Fill it with old reports, just change the dates. Old email replies, tweak the names. Past presentations, maybe rotate one slide for flavor. And give files legitimacy. V 2.0, final, maybe Q3, strategy draft V7.
And this is where automation comes, in macros, templates, autoresponders. But the source frames them not as ways to do more work, but as systems or even invisible assistants designed to get you back to, doing nothing faster. Using AI or canned responses fits right into this.
The rationale is interesting, too. It says lower effort, a lower quality. Because, and I quote, 90% of people won't notice you reuse something, and the other 10% are too tired to call it out. So if the output looks okay and took less effort, that's just efficiency, according to this source.
Peak efficiency.
The motto here, plagiarize yourself, or, more professionally, leveraging proven frameworks.
It really highlights the repetitive nature of some corporate work, doesn't it? And how surface changes can pass for novelty, appearance over substance again.
Okay, next up, the sacred tab shuffle, juggling browsers like a pro. The book calls this the Olympic sport of modern procrastinators.
Huh? Yes, tab magic, illusion over execution. The idea is simple. Having loads of tabs open looks like you're incredibly busy and productive. Each tab is potential work. I was going to start that. I'm researching. I'm deep in thought.
Yeah.
Even if one tab is actually, reading about which potato chip flavor matches your zodiac sign, to an outsider, you look like you're deep in multitasking mode. Brilliant.
And it details the perfect setup. The setup for maximum illusion. You need specific tabs open, email, obviously, a spreadsheet, maybe highlight a few cells, an industry article, doesn't matter how old, your chat app showing you're online, a few random research links, and yes, an AI chat window these days.
The modern essentials.
And the crucial move when someone walks up. Alt-tab rapidly. The book is very clear. This is theater.
Pure performance.
There's also the mental side, memory lane or mental maze. You don't actually read the tabs, you just remember the order. Click between them fast, not occasionally. Maybe furrow your brow like you've just solved remote workplace time travel. And critically, sigh deeply every few minutes. It signals fatigue from brilliance.
Oh, the sigh is key. The book explains why it works. Tabs equal potential. And potential often gets mistaken for performance.
Yeah.
You're not being lazy. You're managing digital assets across infinite possibilities, apparently.
The final word. Let tabs do the talking. Let your browser dance while you just sit there looking engaged.
It's a strategy perfectly suited for the digital age, where what's on your screen becomes the measure of effort, regardless of reality.
All right, let's talk email. The source calls email the adult version of homework and offers the 5-minute email strategy.
Yeah, the goal isn't good emails, it's just getting through them fast enough to look like you care.
Mm.
It's all about managing the perception of being responsive.
The main technique is the 3-line rule. Keep it short, vague, professional. Line 1, opening fluff. hope you're doing well, or something similar. Line 2, neutral middle. A non-committal classic like, thanks for the update, I'll take a look. Line 3, close your escape, let me circle back once I've reviewed. And the book notes, boom, you just bought yourself 48 hours of silence. Another tactic, the black hole CC. Want to diffuse responsibility. CC everyone. Your boss, a colleague, maybe your neighbor's dog.
The argument is it makes the message too crowded for direct blame.
Spreading the non-action around.
Then there's draft and wait. Write
Yeah.
that quick reply, but hold on to it. Wait just long enough. Send it maybe right after they follow up so it seems like you were just about to respond anyway. Looks thoughtful, not slow.
Strategic timing.
And the bonus move, the auto-reply gambit. Set an out-of-office reply even when you're at your desk. Something like, my responses may be delayed as I'm currently focusing on key projects. The source adds, your key project, avoiding this email.
So the overall outcome here is send less, mean less, rest more. It's not about ignoring things completely, but being strategically slow, using the tools to manage your workload downwards.
Okay, next technique seems super basic, but the source gives it a twist. When in doubt, make a list. Positioning list making is something that looks like work, even if it isn't. Right. The insight is that people respect lists. Elise says, I've thought about this, even if the thinking was just deciding between bullet points and checkboxes.
The book says you don't need a real plan, just a fancy title. Priority action items, pending reviews, Q3 optimization roadmap. It cheekily adds, they don't need to know it's your grocery list with fancier words.
As long as it looks official.
You can also recycle and reuse lists. Just change the header, shuffle the items, maybe bold one or two. Voila, a brand new plan. The source calls it reorganized laziness.
Efficient recycling.
And a key part is adding abstract tasks. Those corporate-sounding things no one understands but look important. Align cross-functional goals, review strategic approach, optimize stakeholder synergy. The source notes, no one knows what these mean. They're too vague to question, too corporate to ignore.
Yep. Which brings it back to productivity theater again. Making the list is the performance. Looking focused, mapping deliverables. Even if you're just playing with formatting, it's the performance that counts, the book says.
And the lazy legend tip for lists. If someone asks how things are going, just say, I'm finalizing the list. The logic. No one wants to interrupt a list. You bought yourself another day.
It's amazing how such a basic tool can be used purely for appearances.
Okay, now, for a phrase the source claims holds more power, more mystery, and more beautifully lazy potential than almost any other, mastering the I'll get back to you mantra.
Yes, the classic. The book really digs into the art of the delay here. Saying, I'll get back to you, isn't just postponing, it's buying time, space, and plausible deniability. The source suggests you're not ignoring the request, you're simply processing it indifferently. And the best part, most people forget they even asked.
It's presented as a kind of Swiss Army knife. Don't know the answer. I'll get back to you. Don't want to do it. I'll get back to you. Didn't hear the question properly. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
The book says it's perfect every time.
Universal application.
And you can dress it up. Delay with style. Add some fluff. Just gathering a bit more context. Or let me sync with the team first. Maybe want to make sure I give you the most accurate response. The source's translation. You're doing literally nothing intentionally.
It calls this the power of intentional vagueness, describing it as a ghosting spell wrapped in corporate etiquette. Basically meaning, maybe, someday, probably not. But crucially, you're still in the process, so you can't really be called out for slacking.
And the lazy legend tip here, keep a draft email open titled re-follow-up. Just having it there looks like you're working on it, even if you never send it.
It really shows how standard corporate phrases can be sort of weaponized to avoid work and delay things almost forever.
Okay, moving into another area perfect for performance, multitasking without the tasks. This is all about looking like you're juggling a million things without actually finishing any. Performative productivity.
Right, creating the illusion of chaos. Scatter some tabs, hold a pen like you're about to write something profound, maybe scribble nonsense, glance frantically between screens. The aim is to look as if solving a global crisis, even if the main achievement is just switching browser windows. The appearance is frantic busyness.
A key trick mentioned is task switching progress, kinda. Open several projects, bounce between them every few minutes, don't finish anything. The source claims this confuses your brain and your boss into thinking you're in the deep zone, when really you're in the lazy loop. Lots of activity, no results.
Busy work, literally.
The source also suggests creating fake urgency, saying things like, "Ugh, I'm slammed today." sighing deeply, tilting your head like you're under immense strain. Maybe have a super complex, color-coded task list open in an app that you never actually update. Just its presence is enough.
The visual cues are everything.
And it touches on multitasking with media, playing a podcast, having a tutorial open. The source notes, no one will know you're actually watching YouTube tutorials on how to nap without getting caught.
And it loops back to the dual monitor thing here, too. Even Netflix on one screen, if it's paused on something that looks vaguely educational, counts as researchy.
Okay, next, delegation. The source calls this the lazy leader's secret, or simply outsourcing your exhaustion.
Yeah, the strategy starts with target identification. Spot your overachievers. Find the people who always get things done early. They're your mark.
And the book gives you the lines to use. Flattering lines. You're so good at this, or I'd only slow this down, maybe you're detail-oriented, I trust you completely. The source's view is pretty cynical. Praise is currency, pay generously, work minimally. There's even a formula. The art of delegating without guilt. Sound overwhelmed. Frame it as a team effort. Give them 90% of the actual work. Promise to circle back later, which the book implies rarely happens. And if asked, just say you thought you were collaborating.
This section introduces a really interesting principle. Let go of control because you never had it. The book argues the upside of delegation is learning to accept mediocre outcomes that weren't your fault. It even gives you scripts for when the delegated task fails. Next time I'll be more involved versus when it succeeds. So glad I empowered the team. Either way, you look good.
You win. And the lazy legend tip phrases for delegation are gold. You've got the energy for this. Your insights are so valuable here. Then the instruction is back away slowly without eye contact.
It's quite the framework, isn't it? Cynical, maybe, but probably effective for minimizing your own effort while looking like a leader who empowers others.
Let's shift to remote work. Zoom on, camera off, brain offline. The book totally gets the reality of pretending that little blinking light means you're fully present.
Oh, yeah. It talks about what to do when the camera is on, mastering the Zoom face.
Yeah.
That involves the essentials. The slight nod, the fake note-taking scribble, the classic, interesting expression. Bonus tip, wear glasses. People assume you're listening harder.
Then there's background blur, brain blur. Use that virtual background to hide the real chaos. And the book cheekily suggests you might be attending this meeting horizontally.
We've all wondered.
Mute is a lifestyle, the source declares. Mute your mic, mute your soul, maybe mute the meeting audio itself, and always have excuses ready. Oh, sorry, I was on mute, you're breaking up a bit, or the classic deflection, I think someone else was about to say something.
The holy trinity of mute excuses.
And the lazy legend tip for Zoom. Join early, say hi enthusiastically. Then, around minute 6 or 7, claim Wi-Fi issues. Vanish. Reappear just before it ends with a bright, great insights today, everyone. Masterful.
It really captures how these tools, meant for connection, can be used to just fake engagement while doing the bare minimum.
Okay, finally, the source tackles deadlines. How to survive a deadline without delivering.
It starts with a pretty dismissive view, doesn't it? Calling deadlines imaginary lines drawn by people who believe in time. The goal is just survival.
The main strategy. The art of delay without guilt. Use professional-sounding phrases that mean nothing. I'm refining it a bit more. Just want to make sure it's really solid. There are a few moving parts I'm aligning. Smoke and mirrors.
All sound reasonable, none commit you to a timeline.
If you have to submit something, the advice is blunt. Submit something, anything. Send a draft. Send the same draft with a new file name like revised concept notes, final V2. The assumption is nobody reads attachments anyway.
Is that true? Maybe sometimes.
And for real emergencies, pull out the emergency card. Vague, believable excuses, use sparingly. Had an unexpected situation come up, just got pulled into something urgent. The rules, always vague, always believable, never
The late-night email sent. A classic move to simulate extreme effort, whether it happened then or not.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the source offers some final thoughts. Doing the most by doing the least. It frames this whole approach not as being lazy, but as a kind of quiet rebellion against that constant pressure, the hustle culture. You're not unproductive, you're efficiently uninterested. Picking your battles, protecting your energy.
Yeah, it leaves you with some key takeaways to chew on. Busyness is not a badge of honor. Rest is not a weakness. And that quite provocative idea that what you don't do is just as important as what you do.
The source even gives a quick toolkit recap, its greatest hits. Look busy. don't be. Attend, don't contribute. Reply, don't think. Delay, don't feel guilty. Zoom, don't be present. Delegate everything, and ultimately do the least while looking like you do the most. And that brings our depth dive into how to be productive without actually producing anything to a close. What a ride. Fascinating, maybe a bit disturbing, and probably unsettlingly familiar in parts.
It certainly offers a very specific, maybe quite cynical lens on navigating work today. Heavy focus on the performance of work, managing how things look, just to survive the system.
And remember, we curated this deep dive specifically for you, trying to pull out the most insightful and, yeah, maybe darkly funny bits from this source material. The source leaves us with a final image, a metaphor. Some people climb the ladder, some build it. This source suggests maybe you just lean against it, sipping coffee, and somehow you're still standing. What does that say about the nature of work itself in some places today? Makes you think, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
So as you go about your week, maybe keep an eye out. Where do you see bits of this productivity theater playing out? Or maybe, just maybe, have you encountered or even used a technique or two yourself? All in good fun, naturally. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.